Well, good morning, Kat. How are you?
Hey, Dan. I'm good. How about you?
I'm doing great, thanks. Doing terrific. Oh gosh, it's been a busy week, hasn't it?
Has been a busy week. Yes, got another listing on the market.
We've got another
McKee's.
listing on the market and
No,
a great,
we reduced.
great
We
big.
reduced. We reduced price on McKee's Beach. So that little 2 bedroom, 1 bath beach cottage is 7.25 now. So that we dropped that 75. So hopefully that gets us a little more interest. And then we put on the market 3 bedroom, 3 bath in Lake Forest Park, Sheridan Heights area of Lake Forest Park. So pretty desirable area in Lake Forest Park. A girlfriend of mine in the office selling her own personal home. And that was rebuilt from the studs out in 2015. They gutted it. They moved the kitchen from downstairs to upstairs. And they, re-insulated, new. The only thing that's not new is the siding. It's the original 1950s lap siding with the amazing cedar, the really super thick cedar. So it's beautiful. But everything else was gutted and removed. The plumbing's all new. They connected it to the sewer. It was on septic. So in 2015, they connected directly to the Lake Forest Park sewer system. And so shouldn't be any worries with that connection. Because I know a lot of people around there are having sewer scopes done, but this is only 10 years old, so probably in pretty good shape there. And they have had it pre-inspected, and we're listed at 115, so 1,150,000, and it looks like brand new.
Wow. Hey,
So
let's take a look at it.
yeah, let's take a look at it.
Let's take a look. Here we go.
Serving looks and lattes. This home's got both. Welcome to Sheridan Heights in Lake Forest Park.
Lipstick. Okay.
Serving looks and lattes. This home's got both. Welcome to Sheridan Heights in Lake Forest Park, where the trees are tall and the vibes are chill. Looking for that perfect blend of designer flair and modern function? Come on in. Your dream home is waiting. Skylights? Check. Vaulted ceilings? Check. Natural light for days and air conditioning? Oh yeah. Huge quartz island and a pot filler? I mean, if you don't love to cook now, you will. Enough cabinet space to hide your entire Costco haul? Absolutely. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who has the best heated bathroom floors of them all? Split level means a little cardio with your square footage. You're welcome. Open the glass door to a covered deck that overlooks your private, fully fenced yard, garden beds, a patio, and a natural gas fire pit. Yes, please. And downstairs, there's a bonus room with a fireplace, bedroom, 3/4 bathroom, laundry, ideal for guests or your next Netflix marathon. When laundry rooms look this good, I almost don't mind folding. With space to park your RV, no HOA, and a stunning interior remodel, this isn't just a house. It's a lifestyle. You don't have to buy it. You could also live with lifelong regret. Totally your choice.
Oh, I'm supposed to walk off camera there. Your film glitch.
What's that?
I said the film glitched there. I walked off camera on that last line.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We had a little background noise there, huh?
Yeah, I don't know where that came from. Didn't come on.
I know. There was like a guy making noises or talking or something. I don't know. Anyway, that's my new listing, Lake Forest Park, guys. So anyway, it's really, really, really beautiful. It's got a pot filler over the stove, air conditioning, brand new garage door. The roof is 5 years old. It's got a nice little shed in the backyard. The backyard is completely flat. There's an upstairs covered back porch that is accessed by the primary as well as the kitchen. The primary bathroom features heated floors and has been completely remodeled, and it has a beautiful walk-in closet with built-ins. And so it is quite fabulous. So the bathroom in the primary has a 3/4 bath. The bathroom downstairs is also a 3/4 bath. So you have 2 3/4 baths and 1 full bath. So there's essentially a bathroom for each bedroom. And then downstairs, there's also a big rec room. So it's 2,250 square feet. So pretty good size home. The kitchen is enormous.
Beautiful
So-
kitchen. Absolutely.
Oh my
beautiful.
God. I mean, the island is big enough for 4 people to sit at. So
Yeah.
and there's room for 4 cars in the driveway plus the 2-car garage. Plus it's at the end of a cul-de-sac, or at nearly the end of the cul-de-sac in Lake Forest Park. So nobody drives by unless they live down the street, right? Or you got a delivery. So anyway, kind of cool.
Nice.
So that's my new listing. I'll be there today from 4 to 6. Thought I'd
Oh,
throw that
wow.
out there.
the
yes.
place to be.
Thursday, 4 to 6 p.m. today, 3544 Northeast 166th Street in Lake Forest Park, Washington. Come
Nice.
visit me. Kat Howard with Windermere and Woodinville. That's my commercial.
Oh,
Hi,
gosh.
guys.
Well, let's take a look at, let's see here.
The
We've
stats.
got some really interesting stats this week.
Yeah.
You want to start with King?
Sure.
All righty.
That's
There we go.
Kitsap. No, that's Kitsap down.
Oh, sorry about that. Oh. Hope I didn't. Oh, goodness gracious. That's not King, huh?
Thanks for joining, guys. Hey, by the way, this is Dan Mellis that I'm talking to. He's a lender with Nexa Mortgage, and he's kind of my go-to guy for questions regarding loans, and I send my clients to him as well. He seems to get them the best rates. So, and I'm Kat Howard with Windermere in Woodinville, Washington, and I've been doing this since 1999. So there you go.
Well, let's take a look here. King.
County.
I got to tell you, and I ought to shut my mouth and let you do all the commenting, but I'm just looking at it, and it looks like it's becoming a little bit more of a buyer's market for this time
Now,
of
we
year.
can't really say it's a buyer's market because we're not really quite there, but it's getting closer. And that inventory is building. And so King County is up to 1.7 months supply of inventory. And so that's kind of softening that King County market. So I'm starting to see people miss their offer review dates more frequently, sellers. And, so it is getting easier for buyers to have choices. And I think also sellers are having a tendency at this time of year, they start overpricing a tad. And we start using those closed sales from January, February, and March to come up with pricing for our new listings. And that's not necessarily the way you have to do it at this point. When you have inventory that's increased, by almost double in the last few months, that you need to take into account the inventory and the amount of inventory and how many people how many homes are actually on the market in your price range and who's getting under contract. So really take a look at those that have gone pending and ask yourself, why did they go pending? So that's kind of how you have to arrive at your pricing. I have people tell me sometimes that I seem a little low with my pricing. And at this time of year, you probably should look like you're a little low in relation to
that's the tricky part, looking ahead versus looking behind,
Yeah, because I'm seeing people pricing in the $1 million price range. They were listing in the 900s in January, February, and now they're, 1.1, 1.15, 1.2, and for essentially the same size homes in the same neighborhood. And, that's assuming sort of a 15, 20% jump. And we didn't have that this spring. We had some that closed over asking price because they were priced well in January, February, March. But we've seen some appreciation, but not that much.
Right.
So you have to consider your competition at the time. So anyway, 1.7 months supply of inventory in King County. 38% of sellers got under contract within the first 7 days. if they listed their home May 4th to May 10th. That number is getting lower, and we are going to show this chart in just a minute, which shows this year's versus last year's data. So the light blue line representing 2025 and the dark blue line representing 2024. And that's the percentage of sellers that got under contract in the first 7 days. And it's fascinating to take a look at because, my feeling was this year is a little slower.
Do you want to bring that up right now? We can bring it up now.
Yeah, why don't you do that? Why don't you bring that one up? It's interesting to look at because you can see, so the light color is, and if you look all the way to the right, that represents May 4th through May 10th. And you can see last year this week, it was, nearly 50%, it looks like, were under contract in the first 7 days. And that's quite a bit more than 38%. And then you can even go a week further back and it's about the same. The last year being quite a few more sellers getting under contract that first 7 days. And if you go back into all of April, last April was much more. It was at one point over 60-something% for 4 weeks in a row, actually. And actually 5 out of the 6 weeks from March 2nd to April 12th. There were 5 out of the 6 weeks last year where the percentage of sellers that got under contract within the first 7 days was over 60%. And that's a really strong seller's market. That's a really good seller's market. Now, this year, it's been between, where we're at by about now at 38%, going up to 54 is where it's been kind of hovering between. So just a little bit slower, still a seller's market. So it still is a seller's market. I don't want to get, I don't want people to get this wrong. We're not softened to a buyer's market, but it's definitely getting closer. 1.7 months supply of inventory is quite a bit. But you can see that almost consistently all the way back to January of this year is where I started comparing it. And you can see almost every single week last year was a stronger market than this year. And so I just want people to be aware of that. I didn't consider last year to be a really crazy strong seller's market. It still started feeling dicey in May and June. We get 2 offers instead of 5 or 10, compared to the previous years. But this year's even softer than last year. So we just need to, as listing agents and, buyers can be aware of that as well and know that you have a little more negotiating potentially possibilities. So anyway, I just think it's interesting. I thought looking at last year versus this year would be kind of fun. And 46% of sellers got under contract within the first 14 days if they listed their home April 20th to May 3rd. And that's the most recent data for that data point or that metric. So we have less than half getting under contract within the first 2 weeks. That's probably one of the lower numbers for the year so far. So that number is coming down. And sellers setting offer review dates, that number is going to come down going forward. You really should only be doing that if you have something that is pretty incredible, is the shiny object, or has a particularly great location. I did set an offer review date on my Lake Forest Park listing because we had quite a few people setting appointments within the first 3 hours. And so we thought we probably had better do that. And so we set it for Saturday. So we went on the market on Tuesday afternoon, about 2:30, and had quite a few showings Tuesday and yesterday. And so we had a bunch of groups through last night on the open house that was there from 5 to 6:30, and I was never alone. So it was pretty incredible. Yeah. So, which is fun. It's fun to be at an open house where it's busy. So that was great. And especially unexpected on a Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah.
Today is Thursday.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of response middle of the week. That's awesome.
Wednesday. Yeah. Pretty incredible. So, and then 32% of home, we still have a third of homes going pending with multiple offers though. So, and that's a number to really keep a close eye on. It's not the how many go pending within 7 days, because that doesn't necessarily indicate that there's multiple offers. It can, but not always. And the data actually shows that last week, 32% of homes went pending with multiple offers of the contracts that got turned in, right, to the multiple. So, and that's the true story, and that's the most current data. So it's very interesting. And that's almost across the board for all the counties too, by the way. It's almost always between 25 and 30 something percent right now, getting multiple offers, even in the slower counties where they're less populous. It's kind of crazy. I think it's cool to know that. The Multiple just started publishing that. So what they do is they quiz all the listing agents as we go pending, and they ask us some questions. Was there an inspection contingency? Was there a financing addendum? Were there multiple offers? Was there an escalation addendum? And the escalation addendum is the only one that is not necessarily accurate, because a lot of listing agents will say, let's just pull the escalation addendum out of there and just change the price on the front of the contract to avoid incorrect, just to avoid complications, just to make it smoother. Anyway, but the number of multiple offers is fascinating, because that will drive a better price or better terms or both for the seller. And so it's really, really helpful information to know. So you got Snohomish back there, Dan?
I do. I have it there. It is. It's Snohomish County.
Hey, look at that. So Snohomish data is not much different from King County, but there is month supply of inventory is a little stronger at 1.4. It has increased, though, I will say. It has been increasing slowly. I think it was down to 0.9 months back in December, January, somewhere in there. And we're up to now 1.4 months. And 29% of the contracts that got turned in involved, did have multiple offers. And 40% of the sellers are setting offer review dates. Not as popular in Snohomish County. I'm sure that's further north as well. Not as much in South Snohomish County. There's still probably a little higher percentage setting them in South Snohomish County, closer to the King County line, the more metropolitan area. And you got 40% of homes pending within the first 7 days if they listed between May 4th and May 10th. And that's still a decent number. But again, if you look at the comparison data year over year, we're at
this
like
comparison
40
data right there.
Yeah, that's it. So we're at 40% this year, and last year it looks like it was about 50, 55, something like that. So and you can look again, see all the dark blue lines, those are for last year, 2024, and you can see, is it every single week? I feel like for Snohomish it's every single week except 1 week it looks like it was the same, but almost every single week last year beat out this year as far as a better seller's market in regards to the higher percentage of sellers getting sold within the first 7 days. So I just think it's interesting data. I thought it would be fun to compare my data from last year to my data from this year. I don't know anybody else that's pulling that metric, but I love what the percentage of sellers that listed a certain week, how many of those get under contract as a way to kind of test, to take a pulse of the market. So I think it's interesting. I think it's really interesting to compare year over year. It just shows that this year is being more impacted by the change of government probably, and economic news and the roller coaster ride of the stock market and things like that. So causing a little bit of additional fear among buyers, I would say, So anyway, I just think it's interesting.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see.
And how about you, Dan? I mean, do you think mortgage applications are down this year as compared to last year?
They're hovering in the same area, but I mean, we're kind of bouncing off the bottom, maybe, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think there were a lot of expectations. I know there were a lot of expectations for improvements for this year, and it really.
See, I have do not disturb on my phone, and it still rings.
But yeah,
we're
basically at the same levels that we were last year, essentially.
Okay. All right.
So,
well, interest rates are the same. I mean, 7 and 7, pretty much, right?
Right.
That hasn't changed a lot over the last couple of years.
We
might as well just kind of get used to them.
Yeah, that's right. And it's existing home sales came out today, and I think it was a little bit weaker than was expected. But it wasn't a disaster. It's just a little. I mean, the existing home sales nationally sort of mirrored what we're looking at right now in the local statistics. It's not it's a more balanced market overall. I think it's a little bit, just the stats speak for themselves. It's not like you say, it's not like an overwhelmingly great buyer's market, but it's better than it was the last couple of years. So
more comfortable than it has been for a few years now. Now, the last half of 2022 was kind of a shit show. Everything fell apart as interest rates doubled, and you had sellers slashing price by hundreds of thousands of dollars. And
what was that term again? I've never heard that term before. What was that?
A shit show. Can I not say that? It was a bloodbath. Sellers took a bloodbath end of 2022. Anyway, it was a dicey market. It felt really bad. The buyers, let's face it, we went from 3 to 6% in a couple of months interest rates, and right. And it just scared the bejeebies out of everybody. And we saw sellers just sitting on the market for months and months. And I was very fortunate in getting my listing sold that year. Felt very, very fortunate. But it was tough on people. And so, and even now, if you miss that first couple of weeks on the market, you don't get off the market right away. It just gets dire. I think right. we've run the stats on that before. Usually I think it's, 30, 40, 50% getting off the market in the first 7 days. We should run it for more recent. Last time I ran it was from January 1st to February 12th. And it was a bigger percentage of sellers getting off the market just because of time of year, the first 7 days. But it was, most of them got off the market that first 7 days. And then you had 15%, 10-15% the second week. And then by the third week, it had gone down to, between 4 and 8%. And then after that, it was 4% or less each week. So it just gets really, really tough to get off the market, to get sold.
Right.
If you miss that first 7 to 14 days. So, and that becomes very, very important this time of year, as we can start to see people missing their offer review dates, which means they burned the first 5 to 7 days on the market. And now they'll be looking at offers upon receipt. So that's a little scary. So anyway, so you better be priced right and well prepared for the market when you hit the market, lest you wind up sitting.
Right.
You can go off the market for a couple of months and start over again. That's one option. Another option would be, if you drop your price by 5% or more, we can relist you as a new under a new MLS number, and it will not reset your cumulative days on market, but it does send you out as a new listing. So it essentially refreshes you. So you can do that, and I've done that with a number of listings that I felt like we really missed the mark on. Because the seller wanted to try a little bit higher for one reason or another. So that's a good way to kind of go back out there. But you have to drop price by 5% or more. So that's my trick.
Yeah.
So you got to, yep. Otherwise you don't get a new MLS number. So a lot of work for the realtor, but can benefit the seller.
Nice. Well, let's see. You want to move over and take a look at Pierce?
Let's keep moving.
All righty. Let's see what Pierce looks like. Whoop, that's not the one. Hang on here. There we go.
Pierce, yeah. So Pierce County, they've got a fairly decent market this year. I have to look at their graph and see how they're doing compared to last year. But they're kind of almost neck and neck with Snohomish and King, pretty close. 1.5 months supply of inventory, so they're right between Snohomish and King County. Usually they're a little slower pace market. They do only have 30% of homes pending within the first 7 days, but they're 46% within the first 14 days. So they get right up there with King and Snohomish. I think King was 48 and Snohomish was 50 for getting under contract within the first 2 weeks. So they're very close on the 2-week data. Only 24% of sellers set offer review dates in Pierce County, and that's probably a good thing because they do. So this is funny, right? So 33% of homes, contracts that got turned in had multiple offers. So even more than King and Snohomish, I believe. 33% in Pierce County. And if you look at the numbers, 30% said they went pending within 7 days. So that's a higher number than that. And it's certainly higher than the 24% of offer review dates that are being set by sellers. So they've got a pretty good market going there, you know? So Pierce County is rocking and rolling this year. I should look at that data, the other data that I've got for that, but we can do that later. I sent it out to you guys that are on my mailing list for Pierce County, my email list. You guys got that data. The comparison of last year versus this year is what I'm talking about.
Next up, you want to look at Kitsap, Skagit,
Yep,
or
well, let's go. Yeah, let's go to Skagit, I guess, or Mason. Let's look at Mason.
okay, there we go.
There it is. So their market is not quite as lickety split, but I want you to look at the percent of homes that are pending with multiple offers. 30% of the contracts that get turned in Mason County had multiple offers. Right?
Wow.
I mean, that's in keeping with Snohomish. I mean, I think Snohomish is 29.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
that's pretty remarkable considering only 5% went pending in the first 7 days on the market. And yet you have 30% that are getting multiple offers. That's fantastic for Mason County.
33%. Yeah, that's amazing.
So that's
amazing. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong. I don't know why my data wasn't lining up. Yes, because in Snohomish it was 29, and in King County it was 32, and in Mason are incredible, 30. So pretty good. And only 5%. It's almost not worth looking at the data for within the first 7 days. Only 5% got off the market in the first 7 days on the market. But the 2-week data is worth looking at. 31% getting off the market within the first 2 weeks. So that's a decent number, a measurable statistic in Mason County. And you should not be setting offer review dates in Mason County unless you're waterfront or have something spectacular going on, because you are in a balanced market. 2.7 months supply of inventory is darn near balanced. But what this data shows is that the new listings are still getting the attention, because you've got 30% of homes that are under contract pending with multiple offers. So that's telling me that you're getting the new homes that are coming on the market are getting more attention. Because it's not the ones that have been on the market 30 days or 60 days that are getting multiple offers. It's going to be the ones that are on the market within the first couple of weeks.
Right.
So
right.
Anyway, I just think that's interesting. So Mason County still has a pretty decent market when it comes to multiple offers on the new listings. Interesting.
Right. It is interesting.
Skagit?
Skagit. There we go.
So Skagit's 2.1 months supply of inventory, but look at their percentage of homes pending with multiple offers, 28%. Again, I said it was very similar in all the counties. Isn't that fascinating? It doesn't matter that they're less populous. They may not get as many homes under contract within the first 7 days, but they still wind up with this 28 to 38% of homes of contracts that are being turned in that had multiple offers on the homes. So I think that's interesting. Only 10% of the sellers up there are setting offer review dates. And that, again, this time of year, I think that's wise. I think you're going to have something pretty special to be setting an offer review date. There are a lot of homes up there with amazing views. And so those would qualify to set an offer review date. And then 39% actually went under contract within the first 7 days on the market, if they listed that first week of May 4th to May 10th. And that's a pretty good number, with 41% going pending within the first 2 weeks, if they listed between April 20th and May 3rd. And so that market still looks pretty good. Still a decent seller's market, even with 2.1 months supply of inventory. But the trick is it's on the new listings, you guys. It's not a great market if you miss that first 2 to 4 weeks. So that's the thing. So because those other metrics are measuring the first 1 to 2 weeks on the market. So as long as you hit those and get off the market within the first 2 weeks, you're looking pretty. But if you miss those, it can be a long road. A lot of reassessing. So how about Kitsap?
Let's go to Kitsap here. There we go.
So Kitsap, their month supply of inventory is staying rather low. So they were a real slow grow this whole year so far. They're only up to 1.3 months supply of inventory, and that has been fairly consistent. It's just increased slightly and continues to increase slightly. But now, again, look at the homes pending with multiple offers, 29%. So of the contracts that got turned in the last 7 days, 29% of those involve multiple offers. I just think it's fascinating. I think isn't it like, so we've got 28 to 33% in all 6 counties are experiencing multiple offers for the contracts that actually do get under contract, get mutual acceptance on. So I think that's interesting. 35% of sellers in Kitsap County got under contract within the first 7 days if they listed from May 4th to May 10th. And my daughter works in that market, right? And so she was a big advocate of offer review dates until very, very recently. So I think that they're going to stop utilizing offer review dates as often over there. It's just not as much activity as one would hope this time of year when you've got a house that goes on the market, even when it looks really attractive. She's got one on the market listed at 500, and it's been gone through. It's got, new quartz countertops. It's a little 3-bedroom, 2-bath. I think it's a 1-car garage, and in a cute little neighborhood, Gamblewood, I think it is. And but darling, doesn't need anything. And it's listed for 500, and I think the market analysis came in at around 475 a couple months ago. But of course, it turned out looking so cute, they thought they could go 5 on it. And it's, kind of in crickets a little bit, few showings here and there, but not like what you would expect, So, and boy, do I know what that feels like. You put a house on the market and you're like, where is everybody? Come look at the beach house. Anyway, 50% of homes over there went under contract within the first 14 days on the market. So still a pretty good market overall in Kitsap. 35% setting offer review dates. Again, over there, this time of year, I kind of would just knock that off. I'm kind of, I'm on the fence with most houses, whether you should set an offer review date. If they're not the shiny object, then definitely no. If they are the shiny object, yes, it's a good location, but it's risky, right? Because you might get 0 offers. There is that. So, but buyers have an opportunity, Dan, right?
That's right.
Buyers have a real opportunity right now to get out there and, even if the seller's got an offer review date set, you guys, put in an offer early. Give them a little something for the, to remove the offer review date. Kick them some extra cash, remove some contingencies, have your inspection done well in advance, or if the seller's already provided one, have a look at it, make sure you're comfortable with it. But, or you can wait till after the offer review date. And if they miss it, then you can, jump in there and submit, a full price offer and try to nab yourself a house that way. But, or you could submit on the offer review date, and oftentimes there will only be one offer. So it, doesn't hurt to submit on the offer review date, even if you don't want to compete. Just give them your top number, right? Go ahead and submit. If you don't want to pay more than asking price, then just don't escalate. You don't have to escalate, and there may not be any other offers. I mean, I've seen houses that should have made their offer review date that did not. And so a buyer that participated in that and jumped in there, they would have had the house. So, word to the wise to buyers is if you see a house that you like, don't hesitate putting an offer in because there's an offer review date. Unless, of course, you call your buyer broker, calls the listing broker, and the listing broker says, we got 5 offers in hand already. Then you might reconsider if you just want to pay full price. But if there's not, and then it doesn't hurt to submit. It takes a little bit of time. And your buyer broker will be willing to put that together for you and do a little research to see kind of what the listing broker is anticipating on the offer review date. Oftentimes, brokers are anticipating more offers than are coming in this year. I know that because I've talked to so many listing brokers to just try to keep a really close pulse on the market in areas that I'm working in. And they oftentimes will think they're going to get 5 or 6 offers and they wind up with 2. And sometimes 1. So, and that's happening a lot. And then you also have people that are thinking they're going to get 3 offers in and nothing comes in at all and they miss their offer review date. So then what happens then is they just remove it. So, and then you can just submit offers, they'll just look at offers as they come in. And they can still do that with an offer review date set too. So they don't have to wait for the offer review date to review an offer. The listing broker normally will present that offer when they receive it to the seller. So just so you guys know. Anyway. So what's on your agenda today, Dan?
What's on our agenda today? Well, we're making a lot of calls today, and we're talking to some clients. Got a couple pre-approvals in the hopper, and so we're just pecking away. And so, in fact, there's something I need to talk to you about after our live stream for about 2 minutes. But that's about it. I'm just watching the markets are improving a little bit right now.
Yeah.
The
good.
The 10-year Treasury markets are improving a little bit as we speak, which is good because they opened up really ugly this morning. So it's nice to come back. There does seem to be quite a bit of foreign selling going on, and what can you do? You just got to do the best you can. One thing you do have an opportunity for, though, right now, and I will mention it, with the markets not quite as extreme on the seller side as they have been in past years, you may run into opportunities. And I'll mention a 2-1 buy down right now. It's a great option in this market if you have a seller that is going to consider some sort of selling concessions or something along those lines. It's a great structure to be able to not only get a lower initial payment, but you don't have to worry about losing those funds moving forward in case in 6 or 9 months rates do miraculously come back down a little bit. But you never know. Could happen.
Could happen. You just never know. So I did go take a look at a property up in Bellingham yesterday. They're getting ready to put it on the market, and they'd utilize the Windermere Ready program, which they borrowed money against the equity in the property to fix it up. And it's amazing. They've replaced siding. They have completely, essentially gutted it. And I don't want to give too much information away, but we'll be talking about that one in a couple of weeks. Probably going to put that on the market in maybe three weeks. But I was blown away. I mean, I literally gave them a blueprint. I sent them photos of what I wanted it to look like on the interior. And they took it all the way to they just are redoing the rafters. What's this thing say? They're redoing the rafters and whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Oops. Didn't mean to do that. I accidentally had somebody request to join my live stream on TikTok, and I let them by accident because I couldn't read my phone. Anyway, so I've got that one that I'm working on, and they're literally redoing the roof, the rafters. Some of them have some rot, and it's just nice to see a qualified contractor up there sprucing the place up. So it's just did my heart good to go back up there. They wanted me to come up so I could give them a real market analysis and that I could see the progress that they're making, and they're doing the whole thing. So I don't want to say more than that, but it's very heartwarming. They're going to do very well when they go to sell it, and they'll get their money back in spades. So I'm very, very proud of them for taking the bull by the horns. So they're running a little bit about a month behind schedule, but the Windermere Ready program is pretty flexible. So I like that.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Okay, that's all I got, Dan. I'm going to head to the office, and then I'm going to go do an open house at my new listing in Lake Forest Park from 4 to 6, and then I'm heading out with the girls.
Sounds like a good
And
day.
I go to Bonds, which will be fun. It's always fun.
Well, sounds like a good day. I think it's
does.
going to be a beauty outside. Looking outside at my weather report, it looks like we're going to get a little sunshine today. So that's good.
I
news.
love it. It's going to be perfect for my open house.
Beautiful. Well,
Yeah.
I think that wraps her up, and
That does it.
I think it does.
Okay, Dan, I'll see you later, man. Thanks.